And welcome back, everybody. You're watching News Channel 3 live at 9 on this very scary Tuesday morning. We're going to set the scene for a spooky Halloween today, whether you're getting ready for trick-or-treaters or throwing a party.
nexAir is helping us create some very cool special effects this morning with dry ice. Now, it is completely safe as long as you follow a few simple rules. And we've got Patrick Galphin to educate us on that. Dry ice is what? I know you're not supposed to touch it.
Not supposed to touch it. It's very, very cold.
It'll burn you.
It'll burn
Right.
you.
Okay.
It's about negative 109 degrees. So it's about 109 degrees colder than the ice coming out of your freezer.
So Patrick, with that in mind, what do? We see you with these very thick protective type of gloves on.
These are like leather work gloves that almost anybody has at home.
Okay.
That works well. If you don't have any leather work gloves, feel free to use a pot holder or a kitchen towel. You just don't want the ice to come in contact with your skin.
Now, what about latex gloves or your rubbery type of gloves? Do they work?
That really won't work for you. You want something that's going to insulate your hands.
Okay.
That's the key.
Okay. Now, you also should not do this in a confined space. In fact, tell the story of you coming down here in a vehicle that wasn't like what?
Right.
It's
I
not
came down here
normal size, right?
I came down here in my car this morning and had a bunch of dry ice in the car. I had to come in with my sunroof and windows rolled down. Didn't want to be in a confined space. And today was definitely not the day to have.
Not at all. You open up the door, it
Rain
looks like
coming
a
in.
scene from the Munsters or something. It was,
Even though this was in a cooler.
Even though it was in my cooler, all sealed up, it's still off-gassing, which means that it's sublimating into
Okay.
pure carbon dioxide.
wow.
So it would suck out the oxygen in the environment.
Absolutely.
So you don't want to go into a closet.
Right.
So when we're using dry ice, in most cases, especially those who have kids, should that adult be somewhere close by at all times?
Absolutely. You always want adult supervision with dry ice.
Okay. All right. So what do? You got a punch here.
The two main things people like to do around Halloween are what we call witch's brew or punch with dry ice in it. And also if you're trying to create that kind of eerie fog look, you would want to use something like this, a larger cauldron or pot.
Do you need hot water or does it matter?
With your punch, it can be cold because you're really just going for a little bubbling effect.
Right.
If you're trying to create fog, the hotter the water, the better.
Okay, so you boil it. Can you boil it or is that too hot?
That would be great, not necessarily necessary though.
Okay.
What I'm going to use today is just hot tap water.
Okay, so where do we start?
All right, we're going to start off making fog. I've got about 3 or 4 gallons of water here. You want to just take your solid pieces of dry ice and just very carefully drop them down in.
Oh,
Check
man,
that
look at that.
out.
And it will almost instantly.
I can hear it bubbling.
Yes, you can.
That is so cool looking. Now, how long will this last, the amount that you put in there?
That'll last for about 30 minutes.
Oh, cool.
You may want to add a little more ice. It'll do this real well at first. Slow down a little bit. You can add a little more ice as you go. Just then, I put in about 7 pounds of ice.
Okay,
Okay.
what would that cost me roughly?
About, 10 pounds is $8.
Oh, cheap,
Yeah,
cheap,
it's
Pretty
cheap.
affordable
Pretty
for most
affordable.
folks.
We've got 3 locations
cool.
here in Memphis that it's available. 1 out in Bartlett and 2 here in the city of Memphis.
Right.
Okay.
Now, with what Mary Beth just did, can you do that? You know, kind of dip your hands into it, or is that okay?
Absolutely.
As long as you just don't touch
It's warm.
the ice
Yeah,
itself.
as long as you don't touch the ice itself.
It is warm.
And again, you want to make sure you're in a fairly well ventilated area.
Right.
Any normal sized room with fans or anything like that are going to be great. If you want to control the direction of this fog, a small fan will blow it in any direction you want it to
Okay.
go.
What if you want to color it? Occasionally I've seen, or there's I don't know, it looks like it's got a color to it.
Lighting. There is no way to
Okay.
actually color the fog itself.
Okay.
But you can use some backlighting, some colored lighting that you can get
Okay.
anywhere.
So it can be done pretty
Can
cheaply?
be done
Okay.
with any kind of colored light bulb.
Wow.
Isn't that so cute?
That is cool.
Just
It really
fascinates
is.
me. Okay, so now punch.
Punch. You're
And
going to
if
take.
you had, let me interrupt here a second. If you had a hot cider, it would actually do this, right?
Absolutely.
Now that would be really cool. And then you can drink that. Wouldn't that be
Yeah.
cool?
That's what I wanted to ask you. Can you really drink?
Absolutely. We're going to right now.
Oh, we are?
We are.
Thank you, Patrick, for letting us know. All right.
Alex is going,
are we?
let me think about this. Okay, so
Now
what
I'm
do we do?
taking a much smaller amount, and just so everybody knows, dry ice is very easily broken.
Okay.
This was a 10-pound slice that I broke into a couple pieces.
You can do it with your hands?
You want to break it with a hammer.
Oh,
You can
okay.
even drop it on a concrete floor. Don't want to drop it on your tile, but you can drop it on concrete and it'll break into a bunch of little pieces for you.
Okay.
So we're going to take this. Again, this is a sort of room temperature punch. We're just going to take and just drop this down and see. It's not going to be near as aggressive as this
Check that
is.
out. But you see the bubbles.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
see the
definitely
bubbles?
see it.
You get a good sound from it. And just to prove to everybody, how safe it is.
We're going to let you try it first, okay?
Okay.
So you've done this before.
I did this last night.
And he survived to tell us.
Does it have, because it's bubbling, does it have kind of a carbonated effect?
Maybe a little bit, may give it a little bit of that carbonated taste, but it's not.
I see you're passing that over there for me, aren't you? I picked up on that, Patrick. You passed it up.
He wants to co-host Live at 9. You might have to go home and sit down here in a minute.
As long as you don't get the dry ice in your drink, you're fine.
Okay.
You will see a little bit of smoke coming off the glass. That's just residual fog.
If you got a little piece of dry ice, that would burn your...
It would burn the inside of your mouth very badly.
Okay, so don't do that. All right. You first, AC.
Here we go. Cheers.
Happy Halloween.
Thank you.
I'm waiting.
You're waiting.
I've got children. No.
Not bad.
Tastes just like Crystal Light.
It really does.
And after a few minutes, this will actually help cool your punch. So if you want your punch to be cold, you can use room temperature water to get the good effect, but it will cool the punch.
Great idea.
So,
I think
Patrick,
I'm going to do this.
where can we find out more about this?
You can go to nexair.com or call our customer support center at 901-348-6888.
And if you do happen to touch it and get burned, just treat it like a regular burn?
Treat it like a regular burn.
Okay, but don't do that, just in case.
Dry ice. Wow, something else.
Tell you what, I'm going to put a big vat like that outside my door tonight.
You're going to scare everybody away, aren't you?
That'll be
All
fun.
right. We're going to take a short break, and we are awaiting the arrival of Rudy Gay.
Is it really Rudy Gay, or is it someone in a very tall Halloween costume?
We'll find out next.